Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and in this video we're breaking down the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer to point out the best Easter eggs in it. Just a bit of housekeeping before we begin. You may have watched our Loki Trailer Breakdown yesterday, and we said that the seated figure in it could be Black Widow. However, many of you reached out to the show and said that this is in fact Lady Loki, and after checking out the behind the scenes leaked images of the character, I definitely think it's now her. She will be played by Sophie DiMartino, so it doesn't look like we'll be seeing Scarlett Johansson in an alternate reality for now. Now, there was also a devastated New York, and shoutouts to Bok Bok Tube for coming up with the best theory, which is that this is caused by the nuke that was fired in the Avengers. It is very likely that in an alternate reality, Tony failed to stop it, and due to the massive crater in the middle, I think that makes the most sense. Anyway, onto the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer, and though it initially seems to play things pretty close to the chest, when you dive deep into it, there is a lot to uncover. The trailer begins at the Smithsonian Institution Captain America exhibit. We last saw this in the Winter Soldier, but since then, Cap has obviously gone through a lot. There was not only Civil War, but also Infinity War and of course Endgame, in which the character disappeared to live out the life he should have had with Peggy Carter. The layout of the exhibit has been changed quite a lot, and at the centre of it is Captain America's shield. At the close of Endgame, Steve of course gave it to Sam, but it looks like he either had to hand it over or the government took it from him. Throughout the trailer, we see him at several points fighting against the forces of evil, so we know that for the meantime, he doesn't have it on him. We also see a government-appointed Captain America, aka US Agent, played by Wyatt Russell, and he has it instead, so it seems like Sam probably had to hand it over in order to keep the peace. The world currently believes that Captain America died during the final battle of Endgame, and thus he can't really tell people that he actually inherited the item from an old Steve Rogers, so for the meantime it must remain here. Now, we did see him practicing at his home in New Orleans in the first teaser, but he likely handed it back because of all the issues that it could cause. Sam stares at the shield through its glass case, and the character is slightly off-center from it. We saw something similar in Into the Spider-Verse with Miles, and here it clearly symbolizes that the two are not fully lined up. Sam says the legacy of that shield is complicated, and we pull out to see Bucky listening intently. Now, there are reports that Isaiah Bradley, aka the first Black Captain America, will be revealed, and we'll discover that the US government actually carried out experiments on black soldiers during the war. The show could tackle issues like race, and potentially dive into how, after they perfected the serum, they instead gave it to Steve, who was white, and therefore appealed more to the public. Shows like Lovecraft Country and Watchmen too tackled similar aesthetics, and with some of the backlash that Endgame received due to making the next Captain America black, I think it would be the perfect topic to talk about. Cut to the Marvel Studios logo, and this one is rather simple. In the case of Loki, there was a lot going on, but here it just seems like a cool colour technique without too much double meaning. Now, from here we cut to a convoy that looks very similar to the one that we saw in the trailer for Black Widow. It is possible that General Ross could be in this, or someone else attached to the US government. During the events of Infinity War, we know that Ross wasn't too happy with Steve, and this is likely why they decided to appoint their own Captain America rather than someone else. Jump to Madripoor, aka the fictional Asian country from the Marvel Universe. Inspired by Singapore, this location was leaked when flags were spotted on set for the series, and it looks like the pair will be investigating crime in the area. What's interesting about Madripoor is that there's a dichotomy to it, and the city actually has two sections. This includes Hightown and Lowtown, both of which are as bad as each other. Hightown is a corrupt, white-collar crime-esque area that the elites reside in, and they use their power to control Lowtown through their network of criminal organizations. Now, the duality of this is also reflected in both Sam and Bucky. The pair have their own aspects and are not held in high regards, but as we know, things aren't as they seem. Thus, this feels like the perfect mission for them to take part in, and I can actually see them splitting up and going through the city from top to bottom. We then catch a German police force running through corridors. If you cast your mind back to Civil War, you'll remember that Bucky bust up a lot of police heads in the country, so it could be that they're on high alert now he's returned to the location. However, they could also be scrambling because of our next scene, which shows gasoline kick-starting an explosion likely led by the next character. That is Flag Smasher. Now in the comics, Flag Smasher is a man that's basically the opposite of Captain America. Round here we call a Flag Smasher someone that loves their country and bangs on about it all day on Twitter. However, in the comics, Flag Smasher hates what Captain America represents, and they want to tear down the government as well as its ideals. The design looks very similar to the MCU Crossbones, so who knows, the two may be linked in some way. We can also hear Bucky say the world is upside down, and it seems that in the 5 years that everyone got dusted, organizations like this have been able to rise and cause chaos. People returning from the blip may also have found their lives torn apart, as jobs they once had have probably been filled and their homes could have been taken over by others. Thus, bringing everyone back will have caused some issues, and people may have turned to crime in order to get by. Cut to Louisiana, and this appears to be Sam's home from the first trailer. Anthony Mackie is actually from New Orleans, so it looks like they could be returning to his roots. We also catch Bucky on a trawler before we cut to Sam unpacking what may be his wings from a briefcase. In Iron Man 2, Tony kept one of his suits in one which was called the football, so this motif has likely carried on here. There's also a sign that says Wilson Family Seafood, so we can guess that's how his family made their money. Now this boat could be what's used to enter Madripoor, though we don't know for definite. Bucky says people need something to get behind, and after the fall of Captain America, it's likely that the people of the US have lost hope. This explains why the government appointed US agent and just wanted to fill the void that was left behind in his absence. The people of Earth have been through a lot, and they're likely scared of something like the snap happening again, so they're going to be looking for symbols of strength to gravitate towards. We also see the new Falcon costume, which looks more in line with something from the comics. There's clearly been some upgrades, and I doubt Sam could have made this himself, so perhaps in handing over the shield, the government gave him something in return. We then cut to several action shots before settling on Zemo at a Sokovia memorial. We know that Daniel Bruhl will be coming back as the character, and though he was arrested at the end of Civil War, it seems like he got out. The death of all those close to him is what caused the character to tear the Avengers apart, and this is a nice shot which is followed up by Bucky unloading bullets in front of him. I actually have a theory that Bucky went to him and Zemo tried to get him to end his life by saying the words that controlled the character. As we know, Zemo attempted to take his own life at the end of Civil War, so potentially he's trying to do it again here, but this time through Bucky. However, Bucky unloading the bullets show that Zemo no longer has control over him, and he's likely now a free man mentally. Now if you're enjoying the video, I'm going to use my mind control powers to make you click the thumbs up button. Probably didn't work, but if you're enjoying it, I'd love it if you subscribed as well, as we're giving away 3 copies of the Lord of the Rings 4K box set to people who are part of the channel, and we'll talk about that more in the video as we get into it. Anyway, we then jump to the US agent parade and can see that the government have chosen John Walker to be the character. Walker was a sort of deranged Captain America, and he took being a patriot too far, often killing people that questioned the government or opposed things like Vietnam. He was chosen over Sam because the Commission on Superhuman Affairs didn't think the public was ready for a black Captain America, and this ties back to why Sam may have had to hand over the shield. We then go back to Madripoor, namely a nightclub, and Sam can be seen flying under a truck, showing just how skilled he is as a pilot. Later he fights Flag Smasher on top of this, so it seems like the organization is trying to hijack it. They escape in a helicopter, and Falcon can also be seen fighting the character in what looks like it could be Sokovia. If you look closely on the truck, you can also see what looks to be US agent, so he probably showed up to help Sam beat the bad guys and then likely took the credit for himself. In the comics, US agent actually worked with organizations like Smashers to carry out attacks, and he then stepped in and stopped them in order to boost his public image. That could be what's going on here, but obviously we'll not know until the show releases. Now cut to Bucky on a bike in what is likely Madripoor, and we can see that he has a way of keeping up with Sam at the very least. You can also see that his arm has a flame symbol on it, which, okay boomer, I guess that looks cool. Couple of action shots here and there, and we then get Bucky doing his knife tricks that were seen in the Winter Soldier. I love this moment, as you may remember that in the first Avenger, Howard said Hydra wouldn't be coming at them with pocket knives. However, Bucky actually did when he and Steve faced off later down the line. The pair can also be seen running through Madripoor, likely after being caught. Cut to them on a plane with Bucky asking what the plan is. Sam then dives out of it without a parachute, similar to how Steve did in the Winter Soldier. He's chased through what I think is the Grand Canyon, and don't hate me if I got that wrong, America, and an attack chopper fires on him, completely decimating the landscape. It's a cool aerial action shot, letting us know that just because this is a TV show, it doesn't mean you won't have the high quality combat that we expect from the Marvel Universe, and all in all, it's a brilliant way to take us to the title. We see Sam's wings and Bucky's arms, which now have gold in them, suggesting that he may have had some upgrades. The teaser ends with Sam mocking Bucky for being a brain-controlled assassin, and Bucky says, "God, I hate you." Now this is a callback to Civil War, in which Sam said the same thing to him, so it's nice that the boys still have a bit of banter with each other. Lads. Anyway, that wraps it up, and of course, let me know if you spotted something that I didn't, because even the spoiler man, the spoiler man misses stuff too. Now, don't forget that on the 30th of December, we're giving away 3 copies of the Lord of the Rings 4K box set to our subscribers. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the trailer. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the Loki teaser, which will be linked at the end. I think there's some really cool little Easter eggs in it, and it should be linked on screen right now, so what the heckins are you waiting for? Anyway, with that out of the way, thank you for sitting through the video. Me and you, we're just like the Winter Soldier and Bucky, aren't we, because we're best mates? And that means I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace. No, another terrible outro, but you have a good weekend, yeah? Take care.